Tyler, you're muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your video's off.
Alexa, turn off. My video's off?
Yeah, turn your video on.
I don't know why all of a sudden it doesn't automatically start up. That was cute.
Did you like my message?
Yes. Very funny. Where's your brother?
It's right there.
Let's see. There you are, Daniel.
Mom, come on. Hello.
Hi.
How is everyone?
All right. It looks like it's a sunny day there.
Oh, it was beautiful today. A little bit cold, but beautiful.
Good.
Wonder of it being such a nice day outside with no clouds, I took a nap.
And it looks like your beard looks better too.
Yeah, I cut it all off today.
Thank God. You look way better.
I try to do my hair as well, but you can still see that it's very long in the back. It like fluffs up on the side. On this one side, it fluffs up. On this side, it doesn't. So
You got that pompadour thing going.
I mean, I could try to make it taller, but I it kind of falls. I tried a little bit to the front as well, like a little bit like this kind of direction, but I can't decide if I like it or not.
You gotta get some product in it.
There is some product in it, Tyler.
So can't you get a haircut? Hi, Case. What's for lunch? Ooh, sandwich.
And
I
hard-boiled
made-
eggs.
What
A
is it?
small sandwich.
Looks like veggies. It looks like a veggie sandwich with hard-boiled eggs coming later. With avocado.
Oh, yum.
Nice. That sounds delicious.
So tell Daniel about your class experience today, Tyler.
Yeah, Daniel, you should come.
It would crush it.
I went to Casey's boot camp today.
Oh, Daniel, yeah, you should.
It's in like
So-
the middle of my day though.
So you took a nap today.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You could have done boot camp instead of a nap.
Yeah.
I mean, technically yes, but if you had the option of at 3 o'clock taking a nap or working out, which one are you guys taking?
Working
Take a
out.
nap before.
I'm not gonna take a nap and then just start working out. That's crazy. Crazy town.
You'll
Take a
have
nap
lots of energy.
But yeah, so I made a haircut appointment. Do you guys want to guess when my haircut appointment is?
July.
No, it's not that bad.
March
May.
22nd.
Tyler is the closest. March 25th.
Well, at least you have one. Are you going to the same place as before, or do you just pick a new one?
I'm going to a new one. I didn't like the last haircut. I got the old one, so I'm going to a new one.
In 2 weeks, you'll have a haircut.
3 weeks.
That's something to look forward to.
Well, 3.5 weeks.
So do they do like here, where everybody's 6 feet apart and all of that?
Yeah.
Did I tell you, Daniel, I got my second shot this week?
Nice. Look at
Yeah.
you guys.
And Mike got his yesterday.
How are you guys feeling?
I'm okay. I'm still kind of tired. Like I find myself getting really tired in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, I sat down to watch television and eat dinner and woke up at 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Mom, I'm gonna ask the mean question now. Isn't this relatively normal?
Well, usually I can stay awake during dinner.
Okay.
Like for me, I find it really hard to wake up wake up in the morning. It's really hard for me now.
Oh,
But it like ebbs and flows. It's weird. Like some days I wake up and I feel like totally normal. I'm like, all right, I'll go get a workout in. And then other days I wake up, I'm like, I just got to go back to sleep.
need more sleep. Well, Mike said today, yesterday, he got his shot yesterday afternoon. He had to go to Florida to get his, Daniel. But he said last night that his arm was already sore, kind of like me. But he said this morning he had his headache and his arm was sore. But unlike me, who went back to work, he got his shot, drove home, and promptly fell asleep till 12 o'clock.
That's good.
I guess so, because they said you're supposed to rest. But yeah, so I haven't heard anything today. He said he was just going to take it easy.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how I do in like 2 more weeks.
I mean,
Oh, fine.
I think you might be correlating some things that may not be related, because it is also springtime when allergies play a larger factor, and you're also going back to school now.
I'm not allergic
plays-
to anything.
Oh, since when?
Yeah, Tyler, since when? I distinctly remember you having allergies and like being exhausted some days in the early spring.
Well,
Yeah.
except for it's really not spring here, Daniel. It's freezing cold. It was in the
Remember, it's gonna be
20s.
70 degrees on Wednesday.
Well, that's good because I'm flying away.
That's true.
But
you-
Aunt Laurel says that in Arizona, well, this whole week it's been in the high 80s, but next week it's going to be at the high 60s. So that's good for me. Yeah.
Wait, when are you going?
Wednesday night, coming back on Tuesday.
Whoa. Are you gonna bring anything
Yeah.
back?
Am I going to bring anything? Oh, she has great plans. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to have to like check an extra bag or something because we've decided, well, we're going to do all kinds of crazy stuff while I'm there. Like we're going to can things in her Instapot. I don't know how you do that. And all the lemons and the oranges will still be on the trees ready to be picked. So I'll have a suitcase filled of lemons and oranges. And what she does with her lemons, she makes lemon juice out of them and then she freezes the lemon juice. So she wants to put some of that and some eggs in this suitcase. So we'll see.
Is that allowed?
In your suitcase?
Yeah.
Seems
As
like a-
long as it's checked, you can check food.
Yeah, no, I wasn't concerned about. I'm concerned about checking the bag, but not that it will get stopped, but that the eggs will break.
Oh no, we'll pack them up. We're not just going to throw them in there.
I mean, still, have you seen the videos of baggage handlers?
Well, that's true. But she sends me eggs in the mail all the time. And for the most part, they arrive intact.
You can send live chicks in the mail as well.
Yeah, that's how most people get them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. She has new baby chicks. There's like, I think 6 new babies. Well, 4,
Mm.
2 died.
I saw a good video the other day of ducks on a highway, and the mother was walking on the highway, and all the chicks were following it.
That's what they do.
Yeah, in my old building, there was a bunch of Canadian geese, and they would, because there was a pond across the street, so their babies would hatch by the pond, and then twice a day they would take all the babies and cross the road, and it stopped traffic for miles because they weren't in any hurry, and first the dad would come out and start honking, and all the cars would stop, and then the mom would come and all the babies would follow. I think I told you that story of this guy I worked with. He saw them doing that one springtime, and he saw that the babies were having a hard time getting up on the curb. So the next day he wrapped up a couple telephone books with tape, so make a block, and he took it out to where the curb was, and he put it on the bottom up against the curb so the babies could hop up and get over the road easier. But he forgot to tell the guards in the building, and they saw this package and they thought it was a bomb. And we were in lockdown for hours and hours. They had the SWAT team out there. They had the dogs out there. The geese were just looking at all these people, but we couldn't move. And my office mate was petrified because he didn't want to tell the police, the special police, that it was him that put that there. They had the bomb squad, and we could see from our window. They had these guys in these great big, they looked like astronaut suits with these great big, like sticks, only they were like metal,
Yeah, they put in them
poking at it.
like giant carpets. Looks like they're wearing giant carpets.
Yeah, and then I think they blew it up. I can't remember what they did, but anyway,
The telephone book.
we could not leave our building for hours because the geese would always cross, pretty much like 10 or 11 in the morning. And so when they found it, when the SPOs found this little package, I don't think we got out of there before 6 o'clock. We were in lockdown mode. He never did tell them that it was him.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this.
I thought it was funny. And the best part was it was happening right outside our window, so we could see it all. He was beside himself, and his wife was a piece of work. And she kept calling him because he was supposed to pick up the kids or whatever. And he kept saying, I don't know what's happening. They won't let us leave the office.
I'm imagining you guys all sitting there drinking coffee, watching this. And
Oh, it
they
was so
like,
Thank God there was a cafeteria in our building, so we could go downstairs and get lunch. But it was so funny. Anyway, so then the poor little goslings had to find their way over the curb on their own after that.
I saw a hilarious video today of a puppy trying to go like from the yard up onto a step, and the step was just too high for it, and the dog jumps and just like, you know, as puppies do, pretty much headbutts the step and like bounces off of it and looks at it, tries it again, does the same thing, and then like runs around to like the smaller step on the side and then goes back up, and it was like,
So
I miss
funny.
my dog.
So funny.
What
Speaking
time
of dogs, how is your landlord's dog?
Oh, Daisy is good.
Daisy.
You know, she barks a bunch. She like growls at me, but she like growls at me, and I look at her, and then she'll be like, "Arr," and then I'm like, "Hey, calm it down." She's like, "Arr," and she'll like walk up, and then what she does this thing where she walks up and she just like rolls on her back like, "All right, scratches now." Like,
Yeah.
she's just a
That's
very
not real- Why is it growling at you?
Oh, it's just she doesn't really bark. She just kind of growls. She's just a vocal dog. It's not like an aggressive growl.
Oh,
It's
so she was just talking.
yeah. It's like, you know, like how some cats kind of like how Addie will sometimes like meow at you, but it's not like an aggressive meow. It's like, hey, hey you, hey, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, Addie is meowing all the time now.
Exactly. Yeah, she would do it to me as well. And it's like, what do you want? And it's like, "Rawr," and it's like, and you have to walk over and pet her. That kind of thing.
Right.
Lucky
How's
you.
your
I started.
how's your sound?
Almost done.
Oh my God.
Mom, I started gambling on Bitcoin
Why?
because I have too much free time.
And so how much money have you made?
0.0 euros.
Oh,
And
that's
how many euros have you invested?
500.
And you lost it all?
No, I didn't lose anything.
Oh, okay. You
just
you
made
broke
it.
even. Okay.
Like I made $20 this week, and then and then it went like, whoo, and it was like, oh crap.
Okay, but don't invest any more than that.
Yeah.
What
I'm
are you
trying to-
betting? Just Bitcoin in general?
Yeah, I think since it's such a volatile market, I think it is also rather predictable. And I
So
think
did
can
you
predict the like when it's going to rise and fall. And if I can do that, then I'll probably put a little bit more money into it.
so I don't understand cryptocurrency. So explain it to me.
Just think of it like another currency. If it holds as much real value as like the dollar, for example. It has value because you say it, because people believe it has value. It's the same with like the yuan or the euro. It can be used to be traded for money because people are willing to buy it. So think of it
Yes,
like
but that's different though, because our money is backed by the Federal Reserve.
yes. So
So
crypto,
what is Bitcoin backed by?
nothing.
Hopes and dreams.
Well, not really. So the way that crypto works is like crypto mining, for example. Like the way that you can create more of this is essentially you have to solve like really obscenely complex math problems, and they take a lot of computing power to do it. But you can't fake them because the ledger for each of these things are stored in a bunch. It's very distributed through all of the people who have ever owned it. So each person had like this is what blockchain is. Like if you've ever heard the term blockchain, essentially your security keys are distributed through hundreds of thousands of places. So nobody can reconstruct the whole thing. It's like extremely secure actually. And this is why you can do these type of things. And this is why you can't just be like, okay, I'm going to make a whole bunch of new Bitcoin, because you can't go the back way through it. You have to spend the money on the computing power to do it.
So that blockchain thing, that's the same kind of thing that's behind the disappearing messages?
No.
That's how they keep them secure?
No, it's similar. So blockchain started with cryptocurrency actually, and then it has gone to other places. Like disappearing messages, not really. Disappearing messages are like you just kind of have to trust your like the person that you're sending it through. You can do blockchain for essentially you have to have a lot of people doing it. So for example, if you were to be an unnamed like government agency, so to speak, you could have encryption keys that resided on every one of the servers everywhere, like little pieces of it. And then you could pull this all together to verify things and have everything be very secure this way, because if someone hacks one computer, they only get one piece of the chain. They don't get the whole thing.
Right, well, that's the same thing with the disappearing messages, the apps that do that though, because you only get a certain portion of it and you can't go back and track where it went or who sent it to you, I guess. Or I guess you know who sent it to you, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the service, I think, because like a service like Snapchat, for example, they just say that they delete the messages. Like they don't actually, like they can still, they just say that they delete them from their servers, but they don't really.
Well, but they're not available for you to see anymore though, they go away. That's
Yeah.
the whole.
Yeah, but that's not blockchain doesn't work that way. It's a
Oh.
similar idea but different. So this is what cryptocurrency is backed in. But the best way to think of cryptocurrency is to view it like a different currency.
So
So
you pay income taxes in Germany?
yeah,
So do you have to claim that on your income tax?
yes, I will next year. However, it is only if I think I have to read again into this one because there's I think it's the way I understood it, but I must have understood this incorrectly because this would be ridiculous, is if the trades are under 600 euros, then it is not taxed because Germany views cryptocurrencies as currency, like trading between, like Forex trading between like the US dollar and the euro. Same idea.
Well, that's just like gambling here. You don't have to report if it's under a certain amount. Gambling with, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, this is just straight up gambling. But so I think I can, and I'm going to try to write some code with some of my colleagues, see if we can create something that does this, that predicts this a little bit.
Well, that's a good idea. And so when you buy 500 or 5,000 or whatever it was, euros of Bitcoin, does that just mean you're just watching your 500 euros? You don't have any decision in where your 500 euros goes into Bitcoin, right? It's just.
Oh no, you can it's like trading any other, like on any other marketplace. You can say like I want to buy this much of it, and it's not like you buy one Bitcoin, you can buy fractions of them because Bitcoin is like 40,000 euros right now. Like one Bitcoin is 40,000 euros, so it's like, hey, I'm gonna buy a little tiny piece.
Yeah, my boss's son is big time into this. And so
Yeah.
is my boss, evidently. So they've been doing quite well.
Yeah, and
But-
that's the thing is, so the way that you can make money on this is that since the market is so volatile, like to the fees that I pay are, it's like 0.5% for buying and selling until a certain point, but let's just assume 0.5%. So this means that you have to exceed 1% and a little bit of change, like I think it's like 1.25%, let's say. If you buy and then sell, like with a 1.2% difference, you're making money, and you can compound your interest this way.
This is kind of like penny stocks, but on a bigger scale.
On a much bigger scale,
On a much bigger scale with a bit more
a lot more pennies.
penny stocks are like, I wouldn't bet on penny stocks. That's a much different, like that's almost more volatile than this, because this is one thing. Penny stocks
But-
are like thousands of things.
I think you have to be very careful because cryptocurrency isn't real.
Oh yeah.
So the bottom could drop out at any time.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's not
This-
like you're buying stock in the gas company. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I'm looking at the market right now, Mom. I think they're about even with what's going on.
I'm just saying that I think the risk is greater with cryptocurrency than other stocks.
Agreed. This is why, in my opinion, the way to do this is you play the game, so to speak. So you just, and you pull out money as you have it. Like you don't invest all your money at any one time. You siphon this off.
So I will also tell you, Daniel, that this is the problem I have with my stock because it's very old. When you sell, and I don't know if Germany's like this, but the US is like this, you have to give a cost basis of when you bought and when you sold. So keep track.
Oh, the ledger's all there.
Okay.
But
So did you
that's-
like that thing that I sent in the WhatsApp?
I was working yesterday and I have the tab open still. I'm sorry, I haven't watched
Oh,
it yet.
you have, oh, it's very funny. It's a bunch of nerdy PhDs.
There's another interesting thing about crypto actually. In Germany, if you hold on to, like if you buy it and then you wait a year, this isn't taxed at all. Like your tax rate is 0.
Well, yeah, because you haven't made any money yet. You haven't sold it.
No, even if you sell it, like if you hold it for a year and then sell it, you don't pay taxes on it,
Oh,
which is absolutely bizarre to me. Like, it's just weird. It's the same with any other currency though. Like if I
Yeah.
were to say, like, okay, but if I were to buy a bunch of Swiss francs and then just hold on to this for a year and then convert it back to euros, I wouldn't have to pay any taxes on that either, which is also bizarre. The
I
same
guess
goes.
it's good. Well, it's something interesting to watch, I guess. Just don't get over involved in it.
Oh yeah, I mean, my plan is to try to program something to predict this for me, so I don't have to touch it.
Well, that's good. That'll be a good hobby.
Yeah. Right now, I'm collecting data into a database, and I started it because I wanted to know how quickly this data, the amount of this data gets out of control. And I started it when this call started. So it's been going about 20 minutes now. I have 20 megabytes of data.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of data to go through.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go through it by hand. Crazy, but not that crazy.
All right,
Yeah.
Mom. Speaking of crazy, were
Okay.
crazy 1980-ish, 81. We were a little confused.
Yeah, I think we're in 1981, 82-ish. Because when did Bob die? 82?
I don't remember.
Well, didn't we decide that Dad graduated college in 82?
You were there.
I didn't go to graduation. I just worked with the guy. I didn't even talk to him hardly then.
Drank really cheap vodka in his car at work.
Well, I just told you that because that was just a funny story, but that wasn't during this time.
I know.
Yeah, I told you that he worked there, but he really did not socialize with many people, except for Margaret, the one that said, "Holy Mary, Mother of Jesus."
The older lady.
Yeah, when she got excited, it was Holy Mary, Mother of Jesus. But anyway, okay, so yeah, so I'm working at Sears. Excuse me. I liked working at Sears. I made a lot of friends. It was actually fun, because when Jan and I split up, like in all relationships, that your friends pick sides, right? It's very rare that a friend can be friends to both the man and the woman in a couple. And none of everybody I knew, except for my cousin, thought I was a horrible person. And so I didn't have any friends but my cousin. They were all mad at me. But whatever. So
Can I stop you for 1 second? It always throws me when you say this guy's name was Jan.
that was his name.
No, but
What is
what
his
throws me is in my D&D group, there's someone named Jan. Like
Is it YAN or JAN?
Jan, but he's German. So like
Well,
Like,
okay,
this is
so
so
maybe that's what he was supposed to be named because they were German.
yeah, like, but it just throws me when you're like Jan. I'm like, it just hits me funny.
And maybe that's just what the English, that's how you would say it in English, right? So
Yeah.
maybe his parents just gave up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's just every time you say it, I'm like, it's such a weird name. Like,
Well, because he had a brother and sister and they had normal names like Jay and Susan. So, I mean, yeah, so I don't know, but that's what they called him Jan. I don't know.
I know you're good, Mom. I just wanted to make note of this. That every time you say it, I'm like, what? Sorry. I'm sorry.
But anyway, so yeah, so I didn't have any friends. I was very lonely. I had no money. And my cousin, because when I moved across the street from Landmark, she lived in Ruston. That was a far ways. That was far away, right? And so I didn't get to go out there very often.
Little
So,
did you know it was only going to get further.
what?
Little did you know it was only going to get further.
Yes.
I think
All
the
the
distance is the same.
stoplights and people and oh,
Tyler, I
Well,
think
and actually,
the same,
it's probably, sorry, Daniel, what?
the distance didn't change.
No, but back in the day, right? There was a Beltway. There wasn't a Fairfax County Parkway.
2-lane beltway, right?
I hated the Beltway. I think the Beltway was 3 or 4 lanes. I don't know. Did I tell you the first time I ever got on the Beltway?
No.
And actually, it was probably coming back from visiting my cousin. There was no toll road either back
Was
then.
66 a thing then?
I'm sorry.
66?
66 was there, but that's not anywhere close to Ruston. So what you had to do, you had to go on the Beltway and then get off at Tyson's Corner, which was a big nothing, right? There was a shopping center there, but that was it. And then you went down 7 all the way to Ruston, which was not a fast trip.
Hello, I'm saying goodbye because I have a client, but I just wanted to say hi.
Hi, Casey.
Now that the stove's off.
We
All
missed you,
right.
Casey.
I know, I love hearing these stories too. They're so great. I
I
like,
don't know.
They are great.
they are amazing.
We'll see. Probably psychotic at the end of it. Anyway, so that's what you had to do. But the first time I got on the Beltway, which probably was the first time I went out there to see her, I was petrified because people, well, first of all, I lived in Falls Church before, but everywhere I went, because I worked at this place called Arlington Hall Station, which was right off of 50. So we were just going back roads, the whole time to work. And I never, ever, and actually remember where Opus buried? It's basically right across the street from that cemetery where I worked.
Wow.
Anyway, so the first time I'm coming back from visiting my cousin and I'm on the Beltway, and that was the first time I ever knew about a left-handed exit. There's no such thing where I'm from, right? Well, where I'm from, there's no highways, right? There's little
Where
tiny
you're
roads.
from, there's no stoplights.
That's true. There wasn't even a stoplight. Not yet. But anyway, so I missed the exit and I ended up driving around the Beltway again. I was like, oh my God.
Wait, hold on. Both around the Beltway again?
Well, I missed the exit, so I went around over the Wilson Bridge. I got off on the bridge and back. It was
Indian Head
horrible.
Highway.
It was horrible.
That was probably a scary
And-
place back then.
It's still
Oh,
a
and actually that reminds me, there was another lady that worked at Sears. Her name was May. Oh, I just remembered her. Anyway, her name was May, and she was from Maryland, and she lived on Indian Head Highway.
Oof.
And they were always talking about crabs. Then they evidently did a big thing. She and her husband did a great big thing every year for crabs. And so she invited me. I don't know. She may have invited this other guy I worked with. I think his name was Alex. And we went out there. And I'd never eaten crabs before. I was mortified. They had this big table, with all these newspapers and the mallets, and they're slamming them. And I was like, what are you people doing? And so she was very nice, and she sat down and showed me how to do crabs, but I was just like mortified. I kept the little knife. By the time I finished, I had little cuts all over my fingers, and the Old Bay seasoning was in my hand cuts, and I wasn't happy.
Burns.
Oh yeah.
Burns. But yeah, I couldn't believe they take these big crabs out of these pots and just dump them all over the table, and all these people would just like descend upon them and just start eating.
Oh my God.
I know, but anyway, I did like them, but not really at first. They tasted, because crabs are bottom feeders and they taste very fishy. They
You don't
kind of
like
taste
crabs?
like a catfish to me. What?
You don't like crabs?
I do like crabs now, but not in the beginning.
They're
I
kind
only
of-
liked the back fin back
You
then.
were probably eating Potomac crabs. They
Oh,
used to go crabbing in
Probably
the Potomac.
so.
They used to go crabbing in the Potomac, and then they changed once it started to get a little polluted.
That maybe that's where they came from. Because years later, I found out about Wye River crabs, and I loved those. And Wye River crabs they come out of the Wye, the WYE River in Maryland. Only it's further.
North.
We actually went there when you guys were little, when we would fish off the pier for crabs. Remember?
Not at all.
Yeah, well, we did.
I'll have to
Um,
take your word on that one.
That was where we went to see the Wye Oak. Do you remember that? The oldest tree in America, or the oldest tree in the East Coast.
That's
I remember-
familiar.
We would walk with Oma. There was one tree by the creek who was like the third oldest tree on the East Coast or something like that.
By Oma's house?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so years later, I discovered that I did like crabs, just not whatever those was. And they were probably from the Potomac, because we're talking, early 80s. That was, and I don't think anybody even boated in the Potomac then, because it was still pretty bad. It was still pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was way before they cleaned it up. But anyway, why did I even go down that road?
Give me one
Oh
minute.
yeah, with the people that I met at Sears. And May was another one. I was actually taller than she was. But she was a pistol. She was really, really funny.
Well, yeah. So you were going out on the highway and you had missed your exit and you drove over the bridge and then you were going over to and this is the reason why you hate the Beltway. This is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because it scared me and I didn't like driving on it anyway. And I had this little car that, it was pretty much a
No.
tin can of a car, What?
It was a Pinto.
Yeah, I can barely hear you. But anyway, yeah, so I avoided the Beltway.
Let me turn my volume up. Hold on. Let me
Oh,
see.
that's better. That's better.
How's that? Is that better?
That's a little too loud.
Test 1 2 3.
Oh, that's good. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so I didn't like the Beltway and I really didn't like it when I missed that exit, because by the time I figured out I needed to go left, because I was a slow car, right? I was all the way over to the right. There was no way those people, because they were going like, it seemed to me like a million miles an hour.
Yeah. What was there no speed limit back then?
No, there was a speed limit, but I want to say that it was at least 65.
Yeah,
It could have been even 75 or 80, because that was when people were flying. And in my little car, to go really fast, it didn't really work too well. But anyway, so I avoided the Beltway like the plague. I hated the Beltway.
Was it 2 lanes or 3 lanes then each way?
I think it was 3 lanes.
Was it like super insane, like everyone passing everywhere? Like
Yes. And people even back then, because there's so many people from so many different places around here, nobody knows how to drive, right? Because I'm a slow car, that's why I'm all the way over on the right.
Mhm.
But other people would be in the middle, going 60 or maybe 30 or whatever. And it was just a train wreck. And to this day, I would still take a 2-lane road over a crazy superhighway. So I figured out really fast, once I lived at Landmark Towers, how to take the back roads to get to Glenna's house. And so from then on, I never ever got on the Beltway. I hated the Beltway. Anyway, so I made a lot of friends at Sears and we had a lot of fun, and there was always, people played jokes on each other and everything. And there was probably a lot of people were my age, and then a lot of people were really, really old. Like Margaret was at the time in her 60s, probably 65 or 70. And there was like a pack of the old people that had been there forever, and then us. And we were all in our 20s, and most everybody had 2 jobs, or they were going to school or whatever. So on the nights that I would close, and closing meant you had to count out the cash registers and you couldn't be short. And then you had to walk the money down to, I guess it was accounting or whatever. But anyway, so we closed, I think we closed at either 9, it was probably around 9. And we'd count out the stuff, we'd take everything down, and then we'd all go to Pizza Hut for beer and pizza. And back in the day, Pizza Hut was the best place to get pizza. It's not the garbage pizza. It wasn't the
It
garbage.
was for a while. It was really good for a while, then it went downhill.
And yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm telling you, you would have to, if you didn't have a reservation, you waited to get into Pizza Hut. I know, can you believe it? But the pizza tasted awesome. My favorite was Mexican pizza, and it was to die for. We would always order at least two. It was like this, it was a crispy crust. This was before they had all that crazy like stuffed cheese crust and all that thing. And it was big news when the Mexican pizza came out because that was like totally out of their realm. But it was thin crust, and it had, I think you could get hamburger maybe on it. And then it was basically a big taco, and the lettuce was cold. And I had it so many times. The manager, because I kept saying, why is this so good? And the manager finally told me the secret. And it was, I think they still make it Pace, P-A-C-E.
Oh yeah.
It's like a salsa. And he says, that's what's in that pizza. That's what they used. It was to die for. I loved it.
You can still buy Pace.
I think you can still get the salsa. I should see if I could try to invent it, but we would always order at least two, and then I would take home the rest because that would be like lunch and dinner for me the next day.
You have a
I
pizza.
remember, yeah, Dad probably came once, but I don't think more than twice. But we were there all the time. We would go like sometimes twice a week if we closed, and we were there so much that the manager started saving us tables.
That's
Whoa.
not bad.
And the Pizza Hut we went to is right on a Beauregard. I think it's like a noodle place now.
Yep.
I think it was a Pizza Hut when you guys were growing up.
Yep. Right by Tower Records.
Yes. Yeah. Ross, across the street from there. There was a Pizza Hut. That was the one we went to.
Actually, you know,
By the IHOP.
I know it's not a pizza
A little
place
further.
anymore. It's something else now.
I think it's a chicken place.
Chicken
That's
out.
up to you.
No. Where'd you say this was? Bailey's Crossroad? No.
Mm-mm. It's right on 236 in Beauregard.
I'm only saying because I'm looking at the map.
It looks like a Pizza Hut building. Remember how they used to have like those weird tops? But I think it's either a chicken polo place, or maybe it's a Vietnamese place.
Okay, so it is.
Could be Korean.
Valentino's.
I think
It's-
it's Justina's Chicken now.
It's a chicken place, yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, it's not far. Valentino's, you need to keep going down Beauregard.
I see. I see-
Beauregard and North Chambliss.
Chambliss.
Must be Ethiopian. Oh, okay. I see the Ethiopian place and then Justa's Chicken. Okay.
Yeah. But that's where
Still in that restaurant, in that shopping center.
what?
There's a Pizza Hut still in that shopping center, just in the strip mall side of it.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. That would be very interesting to try to figure out what happened to that franchise, because it was so good and then it was just so bad. I don't know what happened.
I think they
that's a
sold.
Pizza Hut in general thing.
What?
Pizza Hut in general kind of got that way.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I think it was bad management decisions, but it was even the pizza didn't even taste the same. You know, it was with all this crazy.
Being phenomenal. Like I remember it being really good, and then like one day it was just crap.
Anyway, so we would go there a lot.
Wait.
and-
Hold on. Do you have any short stories? Like how much was the most you were short by one night?
Oh, well, it would be big trouble. I was never short. Well, I think you could be within a certain range. You couldn't be under or over more than $10 or something like that. I don't know, because I never was. I guess actually you put in your money. You put in money, so you weren't short.
Yep. That's what we had to do.
Yeah.
It
When
was
did you have to do that, Tyler?
when I worked at the bike store.
Ah,
I used to like print out the I forget what it's called. What did you call it, Mom? Closing? Or,
It's like we checked out. What's it called? Close. Yeah.
like,
Well, there's usually like a sheet or something.
you got to
you,
feel
you,
your
like,
because-
print it out and you like see there's like two different lines. You have to like how much was like registered and how much was paid. And if
Oh,
you
right.
up, you get bad trouble.
Yeah, but I only remember Dad coming once or twice, and I don't know if he didn't like those people or they didn't like him. I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but I think he pretty much stayed to himself during that time. So anyway, so about that time, I was still working for DIA and I was really, really bored. And I couldn't find, because just like today in the government, you have to find your own next job. Okay. You can't stay in your job, your same job, because you won't ever get promoted. So you have to apply for jobs, and I couldn't find any jobs that I was qualified to do, or the ones that I wanted to do were already filled, and it was just awful. And a friend of mine had left DIA and gone to work for this other company, and one day I got a call from her, and she's like, would you be interested in going on an interview at this company that I work now? And I was like, well, I don't know. And she's like, yeah, I really, really like it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I said I would go. And so I went on an interview for this company called the it's TASC, TASC, the Analytic Sciences Corporation is what it was. And it just TASC, it's short for. And it was on Greensboro Drive, right around the corner from you, Tyler. It's, I think it's an SAIC building now, but because TASC is still in existence. They moved out. I think they're off 29 somewhere. But anyway, so I went for this interview, and it was for a secretarial position. But it had a twist. You had to type all these scientific notation formulas on a typewriter, and they had special balls that you had to put in the typewriter. It was like crazy, but because I could type 100 words a minute, they loved that, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure, the scientific notation stuff was really wacky. But I mean, I did it, and they ended up offering me a job.
So like brackets and stuff and things
Oh
like
yeah. If you look at like any kind of, I should have taken a picture of. Daniel, show us actually the thing that you showed us the last time you were here, your paper was filled with them.
You're muted.
Remember from December? You're muted, Daniel. Unmute yourself. You're muted.
Sorry. I was eating and I didn't want you to hear the silverware. I mean, I can show you what new typesetting looks like, or I can try to find some old papers with the old typesetting.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, I can probably look it up too and show you.
No,
but
I mean,
anyway.
I just need to look for the date on the paper, because I mean, I can pull up the stuff I did with the formulas that I used.
Right, that's perfect. Just so Tyler can see what they look like.
Share your screen.
What?
I just made you a co-host.
Yeah, but Tyler, I'm on a different computer. Hold on, I can find it here as well.
Lame.
Oh.
Dual monitors.
Well, actually, I have 3 monitors right now.
3 monitor.
No fair. I want more than 2. 2 is not enough.
Workstation.
I have 3. It's awesome. Well, technically, I'm also on 2 different computers, so that helps. Loading. Supplementary materials.
Yeah, somewhere I have, what TASC did. Okay, so this is what the internet said TASC does. But basically, it's a government contracting company, and
So
that's it. Oh, that's a little one though, because they would go on and on and on. But yeah, we had to use a typewriter to do that.
Let me recompile so I can.
Okay, but anyway, so TASC is a government agency, and they do modeling, simulation, analysis, and evaluation of integrated navigation and guidance systems for programs like the Trident subs, the Minuteman missiles, and the space shuttle.
Nice.
So that's what we did. Yeah, so that's exactly what I was typing.
Or like this one here. This is another good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I did that on a typewriter.
It's a special ball that they did. But thank God I didn't have to use a typewriter for very long. Anyway, so I ended up taking the job, and I really couldn't refuse, because they actually doubled my salary. I couldn't believe the difference. To me, it was a no-brainer, but because I was making so much money, but it was another probably bad decision on my part though, because if I would have stayed with the government, I could have retired like last year.
Did you know that?
Yeah, but I'm thinking, I'm tired of being poor.
Yeah, that's why most people leave.
Yeah, it was like, I really, and the work was so exciting. I mean, who doesn't want to work on the space shuttle, right? Who doesn't want to work on a subsystem? Who doesn't want to work on a missile?
Can you say that you work? Are you allowed to say the projects you worked on?
Well, this is on the internet.
I was just curious about what projects you worked on.
Well, I didn't say any projects. That's just in general. I mean, back in the 80s, everybody was working on the space shuttle.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, Mom, was were you typing up some of these things for the space shuttle? This was kind of the direct question.
Not necessarily, but it's the same kind of thing. But anyway, so they double my salary. I leave the government and I go to work for Task in McLean, like I said, on Greensboro Drive. So thankfully, we did not have to use those typewriters for very long because it was the age of computers, right? And it was the age of when Wang was big. So I have this. This is what I would type on.
I'm sorry, Mom, but you just said the phrase "when Wang was big," and that I'm sorry, that is just a hilarious sentence.
Okay, so Wang was actually a man's last name.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is what we worked on, and they didn't have hard drives. We had floppy disks, but not the little ones like you guys remember. We had 8-inch ones.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the size of them. Okay, so what would happen is you would take your floppy disk and you'd put it in, I think it was the right side, and that was the project or the program that you were going to work on. And then you'd take another floppy disk, which was yours, and you'd put it in the other side. And then you would type on this, and you didn't have to switch all balls or anything, but you would type on there and it would save to your disk. But if you wanted to back up your disk, you had to take it out and put another one in there. You only lost your work one time before you learned how to back up your stuff. But these computers were really, really expensive. In my company, I think there were 4 of them for everybody. Well, the scientists didn't use them, only the secretarial people did at the time. So you had to actually make a reservation to use one of these, right? And I would always try to go early in the morning because they always overheated it. And in the afternoon, half the time they weren't even available, right? But you still had to get your work done. And if you couldn't get it done on this Wang, you went back to the typewriter. That was not fun.
So that's where the early morning started for you.
I always went to work early, but like in the Army, we always got up early, but yeah, that's probably when it started. But yeah, so that was the beginning of the 8-inch floppy drives. And then they went to, I think there was a 5-inch one. And then there were the little tiny ones that you guys remember. Remember
Right.
those, the little ones?
I
Yeah.
think you can find some of those at SCC.
Well, actually, you can even buy a Wang. I think it's on eBay.
For how much?
Mom, I meant I think I
I
can go,
don't know.
in the
I don't
basement
know.
there. I think I can in the basement of like the computing center. I'm pretty sure there's boxes of punch cards and stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure there are. Yeah.
I kind of want to
But,
take notes on.
But I loved working on the computers. But that was the cool thing, though, because it was like cutting edge, right? Everything was new and exciting. And
Oh, I get it.
I mean,
also
looking at it
computers
now,
on
it
them. I
just
see a
looks
lot of
like
features
so
there.
antiquated. I mean, look at that. It's just, and the thing that you can't tell, it was probably that wide. It was probably at least 3 feet wide. I mean, deep.
Well, if the
And-
discs are 8, or what is that? 8 inches?
8
you
inch.
said?
Yeah, 8 inches square. Yep.
They
See,
were-
look at the hand. So that's the size of my hand. It would be like they were this big, right? That's how big they were. 8
Hey,
inches.
I have a weird question. On the keyboard there, the arrow keys are different. What's the button in the middle of the arrow keys?
This black thing.
No, in the
No.
middle of the arrow keys.
In between the letters and the numbers on the right, like the arrows. So there's the enter button.
You know what? I think those were function keys, maybe.
Those were function keys?
Well, they haven't. No, I mean like special. Maybe that was like to do the formulas or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I know what they are now, but
What are they now?
they're the arrow keys, like left, right, up, down, and then there's delete, insert, page up, page down,
Home and end.
home and end. Thank you, Tyler.
And insert.
And yeah, and insert is there.
Oh, maybe.
The
When was
worst
it-
button ever. Insert. Who uses insert? It ruins everything. You can't type anymore. You type over. Oh, it's the worst.
Oh, great.
You freak out about what all your words are going away. Oh God,
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I do.
But anyway, so now I'm working a task, and so I'm living in Alexandria and I'm working a task, and I'm not getting on the Beltway. So I figure out all kinds of weird ways to get to Tyson's Corner, which is the way I ended up going to Reston, all those years.
Was it
I would go down 236 and cut across and go down Hunter Mill. I mean, oh no, I'm sorry, to Tyson's Corner. I would go down 236
okay?
and then go up, do you know where Silverado's is, and cut
Yeah.
across on Gallows?
Yeah.
Yep, and go down that way, and then go drive Gallows all the way in. Kind of like if you were, go through Mosaic, you come in the back end of Tyson's Corner.
Like when we go to the hospital all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So let's see. Oh, okay. So I want to tell you another story. This kind of spans a bunch of years. So I'm afraid of bridges. Did I ever tell you why? Okay.
Maybe once, but I don't remember.
Probably. Okay, so during it was a very memorable trip to going to California. Not only did Aunt Laurel get her head busted open, but we almost got in an accident on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, was this when it was waving?
Yeah, well,
You were there?
I don't know why. No, I don't think it was waving. All I know is that I think my Uncle Gerald was driving, and we were going, I don't even know where we were going. We were probably getting ready to go up the coast or something. Anyway, so I remember we're on the bridge and I'm in the back seat, and all of a sudden there's screeching tires and we're swerving all over the place. And I guess somebody had cut him off or something had happened. Anyway, we were right on the edge of that bridge. And I just remember us crashing into the side of the bridge. And I was so scared and it was so loud and I was petrified, And so, but we were fine. The car was okay. We were still able to drive, but I was a mess. And
Did they
ever
have like
since
a safety barrier back then?
there was a barrier because we didn't fall off, but
Like
I
a
was
Jersey wall or something?
huh?
Was it like just a Jersey wall or something?
It's probably Tyler. It was
It
probably
was higher because I remember looking out the car window, seeing it and scraping against it. And it was very, very scary. So yeah, but we continued on our vacation and everything. Now nobody thought anything about it, right? So about 5 years later, we are coming home from middle school, and our middle school was in Paris, Virginia, which is the county seat of Bear Lake. But anyway, so we were coming home on the bus, and it was the last day of school. And in Bear Lake, the roads are really narrow, but they're built up really high, and they have big burrow pits on both sides of them.
You could put the snow off?
Right, and the roads are banked, so the water runs off and goes into these barrel pits, and the bridges where you cross over the streams and everything abut on those narrow roads, and so they're pretty high too. But the rule is that because the bridge is narrow, that if you're a farm equipment or a truck or something big, the car is supposed to yield to the bus or the bigger vehicle. Anyway, we didn't know anything was about to happen, but the bus driver could see what was happening. And she was this bitchy old woman. She was always yelling at us and everything. And
Because you were crazy kids.
yeah. Anyway, we were just having a great time. And all of a sudden there's this horrendous crash. And the bus, again, is like right on the other side of the bridge this time. And we don't know what the hell's happening. And the bus stops, we get off the bridge, the bus stops, this bus driver stands up and starts screaming at us that it's all our fault, that we were being loud and noisy, and it's all our fault that we've been in an accident, and demands that we get out of the bus. And we didn't know what the hell was happening. So we all got out, and she said, I don't want anybody to move from the spot. And she was just standing there. This was before cell phones. Nobody had a cell phone. And they did, God knows they didn't have a radio on a bus either, that wasn't happening. Anyway, so there's like, I don't know, probably 20 of us, and we're all standing there like good little people, except for my friend April. She never listened to anybody, right? So she snuck around and went over around the bus to see what was happening. And there was a car there that was totaled. I mean, it was all mashed up, and there was a person in there. And April came back, and I said, well, what did you see? And she's like, I can't tell, but the person looks like Hamburger. And she wouldn't say anything else. So pretty soon somebody comes, sees what's happening. They race off to somebody's farmhouse to call the sheriff, and then, the ambulance comes and everything. And we find this out later. But of course, the person in the car is dead. Because back then, nobody wore seatbelts either. So anyway, so what actually had happened is this girl who lived in Ovid, which is a town that we had another small town. There's like 12 people in Ovid. Anyway, she had flunked biology, and she was mad because, I don't know, I guess she wasn't going to go to college, whatever. She was a senior. And they both approached the bridge at the same time. We were coming one way and she was coming the other. And she knew the rule too, that she was supposed to stop. The bus driver knew that the car was supposed to stop, but neither one of them did. The bus driver could have stopped, but she didn't. She just kept on going, and the girl did too. So, so she of course died. And I don't think she ever recovered. She wasn't a bus driver anymore, because she could have stopped, but she was like hell bent that she had the right to go. So she was going, and the girl was hell bent because she was just a crazy 18-year-old. So anyway,
I remembered, I didn't remember this story until you said hamburger meat, and then I remembered it. So you have told it to us like when we were kids.
That's because I was trying to scare you not to drive fast.
That's true.
It didn't work. It didn't work. Just remember, all your parental things, they're not going to work.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm ready. I already know.
You say
all
that.
right. So anyway, so that was another bad thing that happened to me on the bridge. So now going back to where we were before in the 80s. So I had this very cool car, and I had friends again. I was all happy. I'm living the life of Riley. I have money. And a friend of mine and I decide to go to, and back then everybody went to Ocean City or Dewey Beach or whatever up on the Eastern Shore to the ocean. So we decided we were going to go there for the weekend and hang out and have fun at the bars and dance and, be on the beach all day or whatever. And since I had a new car, I got nominated to drive.
Nice.
So I had been over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge before, but I had never driven over it before. And it's a very high bridge, and that is the number one thing. I will go in a tunnel in a hot second. I hate bridges, and I hate higher bridges even more. Anyway, so by the time we get to the bridge, it's really dark. We're in a thunderstorm. It's windy. It's raining.
Did they put you on the opposite side?
What?
Did they put you on the opposite side?
They put me on the opposite side. What do you mean?
So sometimes on the Bay Bridge, they the way the lanes work, they will put some for like overflow. They'll put one lane on the opposite side, so you drive on the opposite side. Did they do that?
Oh, okay. No, this was way before there were two bridges, right? Everybody was on one bridge.
Oh God.
Going like this, right? And they had that. Remember on the old bridge where you go over that stuff and your tires go like this?
It's still the same.
I hate that. Anyway, so I get up there and it's pouring down rain, it's lightning, it's windy, and I'm driving and my hands are like on the steering wheel so tight. I swear to God, I dug my nails into the leather steering wheel. And it's pouring rain. I'm so scared. And I hit that little part and I was like, holy shit. It was the fastest I ever drove that car was to get over that bridge. I was never, ever so thankful to get off that bridge than that night. I was like, oh my God. But you would think that since I could do that, I would be better. I'm still not better. I don't think I'll ever be good on bridges.
Oh, Mom, I was in the car with Elena one day and we were driving and there was this really you've been to Germany, you know there were pretty large hills in some areas, and we were driving over, and the fog is in the valley beneath the bridge, and you can hear the wind going over the car in the car. I wasn't even driving, and I was like, I'm worse on bridges now
I
than I
know.
was before. Like before, I was okay. Now I'm like,
Well, and that's why I get so agitated when people drive and they're like, oh, look at those ships down there. I'm like, I'm not looking at anything. I'm just going to look straight ahead. But
I'm comfortable in towers.
like
Okay.
you said, I will go in a tunnel in a hot second. So,
So they say that the bridge has like 180 feet of clearance, but it has to be more than that. It's
it
so high.
seems so high. The first time I saw it, I was amazed. I hate, and I do not like going. That was another reason why I was willing to go to the Outer Banks, which is a lot longer drive. You don't have to go over a high bridge, but anyway, so yeah, but so I mean, I really, the early 80s, I had a lot of fun. It was fun to have friends again, and it was